Being self-employed is not easy. There are no annual leave days, no one pays you if you're sick, and you have to actively find your own work constantly. Self-employment is like a machine that needs constant fuel. But here's the cool part. It's your machine. So I'm going to share 4 tips of what you need to do and what you should avoid if you're self-employed. First of all, let me get something off the table. I'm not going to delve into the "is self-employment worth it" discussion because there isn't a definite answer. Depending on your personality, it can be the best or the worst thing that has happened to you. And moving on. I've always been self-employed, and I gotta say that in over 10 years, the majority of my clients were respectful and honest, but unfortunately that's not always the case. So recently, someone I worked with before came back to produce another song with me. And it all went well until they just didn't pay me. My client communicated with me and said that they have some financial struggles that forbid them from paying me until further notice. I honestly didn't know what to do because we were halfway through the project and the client was 1 payment late. Should I be accommodating or should I demand my money? I was really excited about the project, so naturally I wanted to continue. So I decided to suggest a restructuring of the payments and even a more flexible time frame just to make it work, but I didn't get any response. The client just ghosted me. Being ignored made me feel transparent, like I just don't exist. But the work I've done did exist. For several months I did nothing about it really. I just hoped that the client would get back to me. At some point I was worried that maybe something has happened to them. But then I found out that they posted a selfie from a birthday party on Instagram. I began to realize that I was caring for my clients' needs, but I was ignoring my own. It was time to stop feeling guilty and start taking actions. I sent out a letter of final notice before legal action. And then, what a surprise, I finally got a reply. Apparently, they felt shocked that I took such extreme measures. After ghosting me for months, they were still playing the victim. Let me ask you something. If your boss told you, "We can't pay your salary this month. In fact, we can't pay you until further notice, but do hold on until we can," how would you react? Not only it's illegal, it's an abuse of your rights, your agreements, your time, and your reputation. And self-employed people are no different and shouldn't be treated differently. Now, in case you were wondering, I got paid eventually. I'll be honest though, this whole experience felt like a nightmare. I'm disappointed that it took so long and that it had to come to this. I'm hurt because they betrayed my trust, and I'm annoyed because I couldn't finish the project. But I am glad it happened. And I know it sounds weird, but I'm glad it happened because it gave me an opportunity to get out of my comfort zone, to learn and to grow. If you're self-employed, you probably had a similar experience. But even if not, there's one scenario that all self-employed people have to face. It's this one annoying thing. People who calculate how much you earn per hour, sometimes literally out loud and in front of your face. I mean, seriously, it's obvious what you're trying to do and you know that it's rude. Somehow, it's acceptable to dig into your accounts just because you're self-employed. And those who calculate how much you earn per hour, they do it because they want to compare. It's this competition on who's more successful. Hello and welcome to 2019's Who's More Successful competition. This year's contestants are you and that rude guy who's currently digging into your accounts. And trust me, there are no winners here. If you earn less than them, then it's a justification why self-employment is bad. But if you earn more than them, then they'll immediately feel robbed. I know, it's annoying. Luckily, if you are self-employed, there are ways to avoid negative situations. Number 1, don't charge by the hour. If you want to eliminate the habit of those who calculate how much you earn per hour, then stop pricing your work by the hour. Price it per project. And here's why. Your clients might start doubting your integrity. They might wonder if it really took you 10 hours to finish the project. Working by the hour, in principle, is bad because it gives the worker an incentive to work
as slowly as possible.
Why should you lose out if you work fast? Number 2, change the narrative. Focus on quality work. Let me tell you a quick story. About a week ago, I noticed that a friend of mine installed a camera in his house. "Sir, I think my cleaner is stealing from me," he said. "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. What's gone missing?" I asked. "No, nothing like that. She's not stealing my belongings. She's stealing ours." Ours? What do you mean? I pay her $15 an hour to clean my house. She comes every Monday when I'm at work. She just texts me when she leaves. It's normally 3 hours, but I suspect it takes her much less than that. You see, this is a perfect example of a situation that evolved just because of bad pricing. If his cleaner is experienced, she should know how long it would take her to clean a house, depending on size and state. Assuming it takes her a maximum of 3 hours to clean the house, she should charge $45 fixed and not $15 an hour. And I'll explain the difference. First of all, she gets the exact price she wants, guaranteed. Secondly, this pricing changes the whole narrative. Instead of accusing her of stealing hours, she'll be judged by the quality of her work. I mean, if your cleaner does an amazing job, do you really care how long it takes her? If she charges a fixed price instead of an hourly rate, you wouldn't. Number 3, respect your time. Let me address one of the most sensitive topics of self-employment. When a job gets cancelled, we, self-employed people, we have already lost. The biggest loss is the time we reserved for the cancelled job and invested in planning it, because it's time we could have spent on another project or looking for other clients. What's the solution? Simple. Charge a cancellation fee. Yes, I know you feel bad to charge your clients for work you didn't do. I feel the same way. But take hotels or take Airbnb for example. When you book a room, it is being cleaned and reserved for you. When you cancel last minute, you're being charged because it's too late to find anyone else to occupy the room. Your time, your work shouldn't be any different. And if you're afraid to lose a big client, then there's a very simple solution. Tell them that you'd normally charge a cancellation fee, but you're going to make a one-time exception because you trust they made a genuine mistake. The bottom line is this: if a client understands why you're charging a cancellation fee and they see that you're going out of your way to avoid charging them, they'll be grateful and they won't cancel again. Number 4, get paid. Do you remember that Friends episode when Monica and Phoebe are catering at a funeral and they can't bring themselves to ask the widow for the check? To avoid unnecessary confusions, misunderstandings, or attempts to take advantage of you, I highly recommend setting payment terms in advance. X amount of money will be paid on Y date using Z transaction. You and your client both need to agree to all those terms before you start working. Here are some important points to consider. Charging in advance is ideal because it minimizes your risk. But don't just do it automatically, because some clients actually see advance payments as a huge risk. Make sure your clients know exactly why you're charging them in advance. Is it because of the expenses you have, or is it because you need to reserve the time for the project? Also, if your work needs to be sent or handed over, make sure your client makes the last payment first. To finish off this video, I'd like to emphasize one last thing. When you hire a self-employed person, you are not just paying for labor, you're not just paying for time. You are paying for a service which includes specific skills, qualities, and talents. Those are the added values, the things that can't be compared. So if you're self-employed, or if you think of becoming self-employed, you must make sure people understand what your added value is. Make sure it is well reflected in the quality of your work. And of course, if people disrespect your services by canceling constantly or saying that they can't pay you, just don't work with them. They aren't worth your time. Thank you so much for watching this Sign of Life video. Comment below and share your own self-employment experiences. And of course, if you have any other tips, if you think I've left out something, comment that below as well. You can read more tips on Medium. I'll share the link to my article below. And don't forget, it's never too late to fulfill yourself.